Now, which one of you was it? No need to be shy. I've just got to take down a record of your name and face. Come on, step forward. Are you the one, then? Ah, it must be you. Aha, I thought I recognized you.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Alright.
You alright?
Yes. Dumbass woke up 3 hours later.
What happened?
I just woke up.
You didn't want to wake up this late?
I want to wake up this early.
Oh, that makes sense, yeah. I'm sure like it's early and stuff to sleep. Okay. You need something?
Nah.
Alright, so I'm out here, Edward here, and Lloyd right here.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
Baby.
Yeah.
Here. You want to pack you on so you can just press the button?
Yeah.
If you reheat it twice, that's enough for that. You hear me?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Love you too. Oh, shit. Four.
hands-on with you video, we're going to be going through the 10. And the fighter focuses on using either a mace or a sword for their weapon and a shield. So they're a one-handed and shield play style. This is how they will play if you were playing a fighter. So if you like that sort of gameplay, then fighter might be a good choice for you. Now, obviously, the fighter is going to be on the front lines, and their big focus is on getting up close to enemies and tanking them to not only deal damage to them, but also to keep enemies away from their squishies. Mages in this game have long cast times for their spells, and obviously archers are not going to try and play melee range, so you want to try and keep enemies away from your ranged characters if you're going to be playing a fighter. They have a skill that will taunt enemies to them, and they also have an augment that will allow them to increase their threat so that enemies are more likely to attack them and stay off the squishies. So obviously a big part of playing fighter is learning to use your shield effectively, and there are a couple things that make it a little bit more nuanced than perhaps something like a Souls game, which are, first of all, there's no lock-on, so you can be facing the wrong way while blocking a lot of the time in this game and still get hit even with your shield up, so that can be a little bit tricky to manage when you're first learning. Additionally, when you're starting to learn the fighter class, there's no panic roll. You want to have your shield up when to block can deal some damage, and your main role is going to be tanking for your group. So next we come to the mage vocation. This is the second most popular vocation for the starter ones, and mages have a plethora of different spells that they can cast. These can be offensive, supportive, or healing, and probably the claim to fame for mages is their Anodyne core skill, which allows them to heal around them in an AoE for a duration, allowing them to heal like their entire party. This is a very, very valuable skill that any party basically needs. So just about every party in the game is going to have one mage with this spell just because of how important it is to the group. Otherwise, you're going to go through a lot of consumables trying to heal, and that can be very difficult and time-consuming. Another thing to note about mages is that a lot of their spells have very long cast times, so positioning and knowing when to execute those spells plays a big part of the role in mages. That might not appeal to all people. Some people might want to have a more dynamic play style. Mages have more of a hang back and wait for the right moment to cast a spell type thing. So next is the archer vocation, which is really nice. So you should definitely consider playing the archer. You want to have a more precision-based play style that hangs back and picks off enemies from afar. And then the last basic vocation is the thief. If you're playing a thief, you're going to be using dual daggers for your weapon set. This is a fast and hard-hitting melee class that relies more on dodging enemy attacks and sidestepping them rather than tanking them. So if you like playing a more agile character in melee combat, then this is going to be the class for you. And additionally, this is a very good class for climbing enemies in order to get up onto them and attack them while you're on top of them. So if you like climbing up on enemies as well, this might not be a bad class for you. So then this brings us to the advanced vocations in the game. These are vocations that you can then change to as you unlock them later in the game. A couple of these are unlocked from story progression, and there are various other ways to unlock the other ones, but these are ones that are immediately choosable at the beginning of the game. So the first vocation is the warrior. This is a two-handed combatant that uses either a greatsword or hammer two-handed. They have more of an aggressive playstyle than the fighter does. The fighter has a shield there to protect itself, while the warrior does not, and their main focus is dealing damage and knocking down enemies. Their weapons have the highest knockdown rating of any weapons in the game. So if you're looking at knocking down enemies, getting them down to the ground so that your team can gang up on them, kind of maybe a hammer or something in Monster Hunter World, something like that play style, you might like the warrior. So then we move on to the sorcerer, which is a more advanced spellcasting class, and it sacrifices the ability to heal with one of its core skills in order to regain stamina quickly in order to get back to spellcasting. So if you're looking to play more of an advanced spellcaster that focuses more on maybe offensive spells rather than healing the group, you might want a sorcerer. Keep in mind that losing out on that heal will be a huge deal for your group, so you probably want to make sure you have at least one character that has mage in it in order to be able to have access to that heal. Also, another thing I want to mention is that sorcerers can help the channel speed of other spellcasters go faster in order to get spells off faster. So that's one thing they can do as well. So the next advanced vocation we're going to take a look at is the Mystic Spear Hand. This is sort of a mix between a melee character and a spellcaster. People are very hyped for this one. This is voted the most popular advanced class in the game, and for good reason. If you look at the gameplay, it looks amazing, but this class was also not in the previous game, so it's going to be new for people. I think that's one of the reasons they want to play it. But it has a focus on casting spells that either buff them, protect themselves, or deal hostile spells to enemies before engaging in melee. You can see one of the spells teleport, it's AoE attacks, zipping around. It seems like a very high speed melee combat that can also cast spells, so it's kind of like the best of both worlds if you want to play a favorite tank character. However, note that it does not have a shield unlike the Mystic Knight in the first game, so you're not going to be able to walk like you would have. So then we come to Magic Archer, which is another extremely popular advanced class, and this is a mix of essentially magic and using a bow. Being able to use elemental effects while shooting enemies, or even like healing or reviving your allies using your bow. You can see in the gameplay there. And this is a really, really popular one because of all the variety of elemental effects that you can do and things you can be able to unlock. This is not present in the first game, and they use a sensor weapon. Looks like to cast sort of like illusory magic type things where you're in more of like a support aspect than like.
Yeah, okay.
You're going to learn a lot fast while playing Dragonstock Pursuit, like how to relentlessly probe deep for enemy weak points. You'll learn that sometimes the enemy's most vulnerable weak point is between their ears, but you'll also learn about yourself too, like does gravity hurt a lot in this game? Or can stationary objects kill? Dragonstock 2 is a game that leaves it up to you to figure out a lot of stuff. This can result in players completely missing out on some really cool mechanics. So in this guide, I'm going to dive deep into every mechanic in the game, both beginning and advanced, so there should be some new information in here for everyone. Okay, the first thing we're going to go over is the importance and the impact of the character creation process, as well as the bond creation process. So there's some really important decisions you make before you even start playing the game, and it's while you're creating your character, and that is the height of your character and the size of your character. The height of your character is going to determine how fast you run and how fast your stamina regens. The taller you are, the faster you run, the shorter you are, the faster your stamina regens, and the bigger you are, the more you can carry. So if you don't want to be over-encumbered the entire time you're playing, definitely consider making a big character, or at least creating a pawn that's really large so that they can carry things for you. If you've already made you and your pawn, don't worry, in-game there's a way to remake your character, just in case you didn't know about those features and you made your character and now you're having creator's remorse, I suppose you could say. You can come to this guy here. He is in Verdsworth. So in Verdsworth, this main town of the game, you're going to be finding yourself here a lot. There's the merchant quarter right here, and that is the height of your character and the size of your character. The height of your character is going to determine how fast you run and how fast your stamina regens. The taller you are, the faster you run. The shorter you are, the faster your stamina regens. And the bigger you are, the more you can carry. So if you don't want to be over-encumbered the entire time you're playing, definitely consider making a big character, or at least creating a pawn that's really large so that they can carry things for you. If you've already made you and your pawn, don't worry, in-game there's a way to remake your character, just in case you didn't know about those features and you made your character.
It's really brazen for most of your time. There's worry not, vessel. Come along, you feckless.
So in Verdsworth, this main town of the game, you're going to be finding yourself here a lot. There's the merchant quarter right here, and then you've got this building with your grand riftstone upper one. And just next to this is a guy standing here, and you can come to his shop, and he'll sell you a number of things, including the Art of Metamorphosis. You'll be able to buy this and use it to respec your character. We'll go over how to do that a little bit later in the video. Just know that it's possible, so if you already made your character, it's okay. You can exchange it. It only costs 500 RC, which is very, very easy to get. That's just going to be a significant amount for you. So when you're creating your character, along with the size, shape, and appearance of your character, and the impact that's going to have on your game, you're also going to be choosing the same things for your pawn, and it's going to have the same effect on them. And you're also going to be choosing your location and your pawn's location. And these two things are also something that you can change anytime you want to play this game. So don't stress while creating your character. The whole game is very fluid. It lets you change your locations, your elements, your skills anytime you want. And when it is that you see this live, it's going to be
Get a move on!
use, or at least make it stand out so other people consider using it, because one of the ways that you get that RC currency is to other people using your pawn. You're interested in it, and the game will occasionally update you, hey, someone use your pawn, and then it'll give you a ton of that currency. And that person that used your pawn has the option to send an item back with it when you get it back, right? You never lose access to your pawn, you just occasionally find out that other people have been using it. So, on the topic of pawns, because pawns are very important in this game, you're going to want to consider having a well-rounded party composition. You're going to have one pawn that you made, and then you're going to have two other pawns that you hire from other players, for a total of 4 people in your party. One of the pawns should absolutely be a mage. There's really no way around it. It's just so incredibly useful because the mage has heals unlike any other, and it also has a damage shield that it can cast on you to prevent you from taking damage. It also has buffs that it can put on you and your weapon so that you do more damage damage, making it essential for any group. It's going to make you and your group stronger, and it's also going to make you and your group harder to kill. Beyond that, it's nice to have someone to absorb the damage, whether it's a warrior or a fighter. And then the fourth one, you can put whatever flavor into that you would like. I went for damage on the sorcerer here. Now, you have a ton of control when it comes to the pawns that you have in your group. You're going to come up to a stone like this one, or there's smaller ones, but you come up to this, interact with it, and you'll go into this realm here. In this realm, you'll be able to walk around and you can see other people's pawns. These are pawns that were made by other players, and occasionally there will be one in here that was made by Capcom. The Capcom ones are pretty good. Generally speaking, they'll have things that other players don't typically have at your level, like the ability to speak the Elven language or quest knowledge, things like that, that when you're low level, other players just haven't given their pawns that knowledge yet. So when someone else does a quest with their pawn, that pawn learns how to do that quest, and if you put that pawn in your group, it'll tell you how to do that quest. It'll lead you to the location, because this game has a lot of quests where it doesn't tell you where to go, and so it's up to you to either figure it out on your own or to put a pawn in your group that knows where to go and tells you how to get there. So here's a feature that a lot of people miss while playing the game, and that is that you can go over the stone while you're here, and you can search for pawns. You can search for specific pawns. So you can go to Advanced Pawn Search, and here you can choose exactly what class you want it to be, and you can choose to have a pawn that has knowledge of your priority.
This is no place for one of you. You ought not anger the overseer. Let us proceed to the site.
Say I want intentions Niagara, and I can say, hey, I want a pawn with this quest knowledge. And then I can come to the stone, and I can search for a pawn that has knowledge of that quest. And now all the pawns that show up in this room are going to have knowledge of that quest, and they'll help me tackle it. So be sure to use the search for pawn function, not just to choose what class or what vocation you need to fill, but also to
Time for you to get to work.
Quests that you're trying to complete. This is going to save you loads of time, and because there's very limited fast travel in this game, anything you can do to be more efficient is going to be massive. Now you'll notice that while you're here, there's going to be a lot of pawns, so take note of what stands out
You are
to you
prepared
and
to work.
consider,
Then you will begin by carrying stones out from the station in the back and
that
bringing
thing
them
looks
here.
good, right? So I would consider hiring this thing. Just, it stands out. Make your pawn stand out. Give your pawn an outfit that stands out. Give your pawn a weapon that stands out. Do what you can to get them hired by other people. Now, when it comes to hiring pawns, you'll notice that some of the pawns are free and some have bank costs associated with them. So the way it works is if the pawn is your level or below, it's free. It costs 0 RC. Right there above this lily, and it says level 25, 0 RC. And if it was higher level than me, it would have some costs associated with it. The more levels it has over mine, the more it's going to cost to complete them. So it's a really powerful looking one that's a few levels above you. You might want to splurge a couple hundred RC, grab it, or RC, just grab it. It's your level. That's you. Now, when you're here, you can interact with the stone again, and then leave. And now you have a party. And now for the most important part of the pawns of all. First, if you love RPGs or MMOs, you're going to love the relaunch of Tofu, which, by the way, is a prequel to the Tofu animated TV series. This game features an exciting take on turn-based combat that works really well inside of a massive MMO experience. In fact, like down, you'll find a bigger game on mobile. Tofu's Touch has over 10,000 maps to explore, and more than 70 dungeons that you can realize. With over 8 million downloads and counting, it's easy to find players and guilds. There's nothing wrong with tackling it all solo if you'd rather do that. And if you're ready for something new and fresh, Tofu's Touch forgoes the sorcerer, elf, and druid stereotypes and instead delivers something completely new in the form of Zellars, masqueraders, and more. In Tofu's Touch, you'll search for dragon eggs, known as Dofus, and embark on a journey from dungeon to dungeon, defeating enemies and growing stronger. Now, if you're the type of person who prefers to forego some of the combat and instead focus on the economy, Dofus has you covered. With over 20 different professions for you to master, Tofu's Touch features a player-driven economy where you can loot, craft, and buy the best equipment in the game. Best of all, it's a true free-to-play experience. There's no subscription, no loot boxes, and no characters or zones that you have to purchase separately. You can play every character and every zone for free. Be sure to use my link in the description to dive in. Registration is open right now through March 29th. Nothing like being part of a community during the day one launch of a new MMO server, so don't miss it. Sign up now using my link in the description and join millions of players as they start their brand new journey together. Massive shout out to Tofu's Touch for sponsoring this segment, and thank you for listening. Now let's get back to the video. And one last important thing to
vicinity
note
is
about
quite
pawns
cluttered.
is that
Pray
your
leave
pawn is going to level up
or-
with you as you play the game. Every time you kill something, you're going to get XP, and your pawn is going to get XP. However, the 2 pawns that you hired from other players, those don't level. So this is the game's way of forcing you to constantly hire new pawns. You're going to grab a pawn, you're going to use it, and then when it's
job well
few
done.
levels, when it's
Now the
3
next step
or 5
is
levels
to-
below you, it's probably going to be time to swap it out for a new higher level pawn that is better equipped for the battles that are coming for you. So don't get too attached to the pawns that aren't yours. And remember, you can always search for very specific ones until you find the perfect one for you in there. In the bottom left corner of the screen there, you can see that it says go, wait, to me and help, and there's some numbers there. That's going to be D-pad if you're on console, and it's numbers if you're on PC by default anyhow. And what that does is when you see an enemy, you can press 1, you can press go, and it'll send your pawns after them. So go is like the action button to whatever is around you. If there's an enemy, the pawns will attack it. If there's a ladder that one of the pawns saw, they'll go towards it. If one of them says, hey, there's a chest over there and you can't see it, press 1 and they'll try to get to it. If there's a material that can be harvested and they comment on it, and so you press 1, they'll go pick it up. So pressing 1 says, yeah, go do whatever you just talked about. Go do whatever we see. Alternatively, you can say wait if you want them to stand somewhere while you go do something dangerous. You can tell them, or you could say to me if they're starting to fight something that you want to run away from. That's going to be really useful. Like, hey, we're not going to fight this, just follow me. And then 3 is going to bring your pawns back to you so that they can support you, heal you, fight next to you, and all that good stuff. So let's talk quickly about how to manage your party and your loadouts. You don't need to worry about the skills or the gear of the pawns that you recruit. You only need to worry about the skills and the gear and the passives of your pawn that you made. The pawns you recruited are going to be decked out in whatever way the player that created them decks them out. So this means you just have to worry about customizing your character and pawn. And the way you do that is
What is
you
this
come
commotion?
to a place like
Perhaps
this.
we
So
ought to
you go here,
investigate.
a vocation guild. And what you can do here is you can talk to the guy, and it'll let you change your vocation or acquire and equip skills. We're going to acquire and equip skills here. And here you can see that we can acquire vocations, weapon skills, or skills and elements.
Swift strikes are Eve's greatest weapon. Watch for an opening, then press your focus on your own weapon. These may not carry shields, but their nimbleness allows them to dodge incoming attacks. Boulders, barrels, and the like make effective weapons ever practiced.
Are you on hand? And some magic archer augments, or you could also do some archer augments, some magic archer augments, and then grab a war augment so that they can support you, heal you, fight next to you, and all that good stuff. So let's talk quickly about how to manage your party
Let us
and
flee.
loadouts. You don't need to worry about the skills or the gear of the pawns that you recruit. You only need to worry about the skills and the gear and the passives of your pawn that you made. The pawns you recruited are going to be decked out in whatever way the player that created them decks them out. So this means you just have to worry about customizing your character and pawn. And the way you do that is you come to a place like this. So you've got here a vocation
No one
guild.
can survive
And
a fall
what you
from this
do
height.
here is you
Not even a
talk
paw.
to the guy, and it'll let you change your vocation or acquire and equip skills. But we'll go to acquire and equip skills here. And here you can see that we can acquire vocations, weapon skills, core skills, and augments. Your vocation is going to determine what weapon you use. Fighter is always sword and board. Archer is always bow. Right? So your vocation is going to choose the weapon you use, and therefore the weapon skills that are available. It's also going to decide which core skills you have available. And it's also going to decide what augments you can unlock with that vocation. However, the cool thing about augments is you can use any augments that you unlock on any vocation anytime. So if you unlock all the passives from Archer, and then you unlock all the passives from Magic Archer, all of the augments and the core then you'll be able to slot some archer augments and some magic archer augments. Or you could also do some archer augments, some magic archer augments, and then grab a warrior augment. You can have a total of 6 augments.
A griffin appears one moment and falls the next. And now
each
you
vocation
then?
has
The one who was
5
riding
augments,
on its
so
back.
you have to grab at minimum 1 augment from another vocation. But you'll probably want to dip into others more than that, because there's some great augments from each class. There's some really tempting ones. The fighter has one that lets you carry more weight. The archer has one that gives you more stamina. The thief has one that makes it less likely that you'll be attacked when you're in combat. The warrior has one that reduces less wage buildup, right? These are all really useful augments, and you might want any combination regardless of what vocation you decide to play as. So,
Tis
you
a
know, this is
wonder
where you
you
can
survive.
make your character your own, is by putting together a unique combination of augments that sounds fun to you. All of this is going to cost DCP, and that is currency you'll see up here in the top right. I have 12,877. You get DCP just by killing things. Every time you kill something, it's going to give you XP and DCP. So you'll just naturally be accruing it while you play the game. It's basically the currency that you're going to use to unlock new skills, passives, and vocations on your character. So you'll be doing all of that for you and your pawn. And then last but not least, for you and your pawn, you've got your equipment. And your equipment, as we mentioned, your weapon is going to be determined by the vocation that you choose. And you'll be able to come in here and look at what equipment your character has available.
I'll not
Another
force you
feature
to
that is
receive
often
treatment,
missed
but I'd
is
at least
the
like a
auto-equip
word.
feature. So down here in the bottom right, you'll see that it says auto-equip. And so if you're out
First the
spelunking, you
dragon,
picked up a bunch of
now
gear
the
on your
witch.
characters,
I
and
pray
you
these omens
just
are
want
not
it
as
to
ill as they
equip
seem.
all the best gear that you have found for that specific character. You can do that. You can come in here, and on PC it's V, and it'll say, do you want to automatically equip weapons and armor? And you can say, yeah. Now, since we talked about remaking your character, let's go over how to do that. You can come to this guy
Let's take
here.
up your
He has
weapons,
a
sir.
sword.
You'll be needing it.
This main There's the merchant order right here, and then you've got this building with your grand riftstone and just next to this is the finish. This just that, and then here you'll have
If you find your strength lacking, buy the curative or have a bit of green
to
tea.
the bar. This is where you'll be able to
When
find
one
this
of the
lady,
queens comes
and
in,
now
let's
because
guard
you're
our
on that
guard.
item, you'll be able to modify
There are often
your
items
appearance.
to be
You'll see
scavenged
that it
from the
consumes
bodies
that
of
item.
monsters.
This option will be grayed out if you had not bought the Art of Metamorphosis. You wouldn't be able to choose modify appearance. Whereas you can always change your hairstyle, your makeup, and give your character markings and change multiple. Like, you can always do these things for gold in the game. And gold's not too hard to come by. You are going to spend a lot of it for weapons. There is a nice weapon in this village that does better damage than the other. There's this here. So there's always going to be ways to spend your money to, you know, but at the same time, there's always going to be ways to make it worth. So don't worry if you are running a choice you make already. It's pretty easy to change it, and it's pretty easy to roll back after you do. Next thing we're going to talk about are secret tokens. And one of the most important things I can tell you about secret tokens is remember the location of the first one you find. Even consider putting a pin on your map or taking a picture of the map with your phone where you're standing. Because midway through the game, you're going to run into someone who says, go back to the location of the first secret token you found. There are 240 secret tokens in this game, so it's very easy to forget which one was the first one you found and where it was, right? And to make matters worse, that quest is a timed quest, so you have a limited amount of time to run straight back to the location of the first secret token you found. So do yourself a favor and remember where that was if you can. It's most likely going to be somewhere very early in the game. There's one that you run into pretty early on. So when you find one, take note of its location so that you can head straight back there later on. Now, what do secret tokens do? I'm glad you asked. So you talk to an NPC like this one here, and it says give secret tokens. And it'll say, do you want to turn in all your secret tokens? And you say, yeah. And now it's going to unlock rewards for your characters. So we just got a ring of behemoths, and we got a fairy stone. Fairy stone's very nice to have. That is one single fast travel, right? Fast travel is very limited in this game, and we'll talk about that in more depth here in a moment. And we also got the ring of behemoth, and there's more and more rewards as you get more and more of the secret tokens. As we mentioned, there's 240 of them here, and the final reward here comes at 220, and it's the ring of endeavor. If you're someone that is a bit of a completionist, there are maps online that have the location of every single secret token. That's something that you want to take advantage of. I'll try to remember to put a link to one of them in the description, just in case that's something you want to look at. So keep your eyes peeled while you're running around. If you are someone that really wants to find all the secret tokens on your own without the help of a third-party website, what you can do is level up the Trickster vocation, and one of the passives, one of the augments that the Trickster has, is going to make it easier to find secret tokens. It's going to alert you to them. So take advantage of that if you're someone that's planning on being a completionist in this game. Alright, next let's talk about fast travel, because it's pretty unique in Dragon's Dogma 2. They've chosen to make it very, very limited. The only way to fast travel is by use of these port crystals right here. You can teleport to them. However, before you can teleport to a port crystal, you have to, 1, find it, and then 2, you have to have a fairy stone. And fairy stones are fairly limited in this world. You're not going to stumble onto them too terribly often. So the amount of times that you can just fast travel to a city that you were at earlier is, well, it's going to be pretty few and far between. Now there's one other type of port crystal. So when you go to your items, you'll be able to click on a fairy stone, click use, and it's going to take you to any one of the port crystals that are placed in the game that you found already in that town, right? However, not every town has these. Then there's the ones that you place. So I put one here in the Volcanic Island camp, and I can teleport to that if I wanted to, or if I don't want to come back to this place anymore, I can walk up to the port crystal that I put down, I can pick it up, now it's in my inventory, and I can run somewhere else and say, I ran to a different town, then I can go back into my inventory, and I can grab that port crystal and use it again, and now that port crystal's on the ground in the new location. So I can come here with my fast travels instead of the previous location. So this kind of helps fill in the gaps when trying to get around the world and trying to get to the various places. So if you find a new quest hub, but there's no port crystal located there, then putting one down there is going to be very useful, so you can get back there easily. Still, the main limiting factor here is definitely going to be your fairy stones. You're never going to have as many of these as you would like. Now, to make up for this, what they have done is they've added in the aux card system in this game. Now, this is going to be your more readily available fast travel system that you can use anytime you want, and it has a fee attached to it, but it's a very nominal fee. It's like 100 or 200 gold, so literally nothing. You'll get that much off of a single enemy. And here's what the aux card looks like. One thing to be aware of about them is they only go to one place, and they only leave at a certain time of day. So this particular aux card is always going to go to Checkpoint Rest Town, right? It's always going to go to Checkpoint Rest Town, and it's only ever going to go to Checkpoint Rest Town. And it's this one here. However, there's another one here. This one here goes up to Melv. So you can go to the different aux cards in town to get to different areas. So I can head to 2 different cities from this town. Now, as I mentioned, it only leaves at certain times of day. So what you can do is go to any bench nearby, and you can sit on the bench, and you'll see on the bottom right there, you get the option to doze off. So press that button, and that's the game's way of passing time. It's still not morning, so we're going to sit again. And the aux cards tend to leave in the morning if you're trying to get to the time of day where they're going to leave. Okay, so here we are. We're in the next morning, and if we get on here and we sit down, the guy will start talking to us, and he'll say, hey, this is where we're going. I'm not going to take you anywhere until you cough up some money. And you can click board, and the aux cart will start to head out. And now you've got 2 options. You can just sit here and you can enjoy the ride and watch it pass in real time. But more than likely, what you're going to want to do is, in the bottom right, it says you can doze off again, and you're going to do that. And this is basically going to skip you all the way to your destination. So, in other words, you fast travel to that city way far away. So now we have the option to get up, and we will. So we just instantly fast traveled from this city here to this town here. We're only 200. And from this town, I could either fast travel back to this town, or I could fast travel to this town down here, right? So there is some fast travel, but you'll have to daisy chain them together to get significant distances. So if you're in Batal down here, you're going to have to fast travel to Checkpoint before you can finally get to Fernsburg over here. Right? So a little bit of bouncing around, but it can be done. Where you'll really feel the fast travel limitations is going to be when you're out in the middle of the wilderness and there's no cart nearby. And so you're going to have to choose, do I want to use one of my fairy stones to get back to town, or do I want to run to town and then take an aux cart over here? As for the fairy stones, you'll find them on enemies, you'll find them in chests, and you will be able to occasionally buy a limited quantity of them. They're not too terribly common, so use them very wisely. I'm going to briefly touch on vocations. You've got 4 basic vocations, 2 advanced vocations, and 4 hybrid vocations. vocations. I'm going to be very brief with vocations because I have 2 guides dedicated to vocations. One is to help you pick which vocation you're going to use, and the other is to help you unlock all of them on your character. So you should definitely check that out after this video if you'd like to. But you have 4 basic, 2 advanced, and 4 hybrid vocations. You can be any of the 10 vocations. Your pawn can be either a basic or an advanced vocation, but your pawn cannot be a hybrid vocation. Once you're in the game, you can change your vocation anytime you want by going to a number of different NPCs in the game that allow you to do so, and playing multiple vocations is something that you can and will do to unlock the various augments that they all have. Next, let's quickly go over currency, because there's a few different types of currency that are really important in this game, so let's talk about them and how to get them. We've already gone over a couple of them because of their importance in the game. One is going to be gold. You're going to get gold by opening chests, by killing enemies, by completing quests, right? Gold is one of those things where just about anything you do has a chance to give you gold based on where you are in the game and what you're doing. And you're primarily going to be using your gold to buy weapons and armor. At the beginning, you're going to be buying weapons that cost 5k, 10k. And later on, you'll be buying weapons that cost 50k, 75k, 80k, right, and beyond. So weapons are going to get progressively more expensive the later into the game that you get, and they're going to continue to get better and better. Same thing with armor. Your character has quite a bit of equipment. You've got to upgrade your weapons, your helmets, your body armor, your leg armor, your cloaks, and your rings. So if you're constantly upgrading the weapons and the armor of you and your main pawn, you're going to find that you're always happy to find more gold. The next major currency is going to be the RC. This is the currency that you're going to earn anytime you touch a rift stone for the first time. That's where you summon pawns. Or anytime someone else hires your pawn in their game. When you go to sleep, sometimes you'll get a notification. Your pawn will appear and say, hey, I'm back. And by the way, here's some RC, and here's an item that player gave you. Because every time you use a pawn, when you dismiss it, you have the option to send an item back with that pawn to the person that made it. And it's just a nice little way to have a little bit of human interaction with the other people that are playing this game out there that happened to borrow your pawn and had a good time with it. And then finally, the third currency is the DCP, which we talked about. That's the one where every time you kill an enemy, you're going to get experience and you're going to get DCP. And the experience is what's going to level your character up. And the DCP is the currency that you can use to buy and unlock vocations, skills, and augments. One of the biggest hurdles while playing this game is definitely going to be managing your weights. You're going to constantly find yourself running around, and if we look at our inventories here, if I open up my menu, you can see that my character is at average weight right now, just barely. If I go ahead and I send this to Lucky Ghost, he's going to go to heavy, and what this means is he's going to be slower, and his stamina is going to drain faster. In this game, every character uses stamina as their combat resource, so every skill you cast, whether you're a sorcerer, a mage, a fighter, when you cast a skill, cast a spell, it's costing stamina, and when you attack, it's costing stamina. When you sprint, it's costing stamina. When you climb, it's costing stamina. So being efficient with your stamina is really important. You never really want to be in heavy or really heavy, right? You don't want to be in those last 2 stages because your stamina regen is going to be awful, and so is your movement speed. So you want to be at average or even below. But when you're constantly picking stuff up, that can be difficult to maintain. So the easiest ways to do that is this button right here. It says press G, or whatever the button is on console, so you'll be able to sort the items by weight.
This until I fall asleep or go to work.
What is weighing this character down here?
What about you? What you doing?
If it has this square with a slash through it, means it couldn't even equip it if it wanted to. And so any armor that this character is holding but not wearing is something that I would probably want to sell or put into storage. So you're going to be constantly picking stuff up in the game, and what you can do is you can put in, by the way, if you're not sure what it is, or this is
Yeah, I took a dab.
how many? See that?
Good boy.
Heat it up again. There's no in there.
Go to that.
Alright.
You need anything?
Whatever town you're in.
No.
Ooh, Killin.
And to the dude, and it says organize storage. So this is your stash. This is your chest that you can store anything in anytime. You just talk to the NPC here, and you can choose to deposit items, withdraw items, or combine items. So we're gonna deposit items, and then we're gonna go to the dish here, and we're gonna sort by weight, and say, okay, we don't want to carry these heavy items. Now she's down to lights. Continue to put crafting materials in there because this game has loads of crafting materials. You're going to find them constantly, and a lot of times they're going to be very useful, but they're very specific in nature. So if you're using a bow, you have to find this one very specific crafting material that upgrades your bow, whereas it's going to be a completely different crafting material to upgrade your light armor or your heavy armor or your two-handed sword. So there's tons of crafting materials that you're going to need at any moment. Very, very simple.
Kick it.
storage when you do decide to level up, when you do decide
All right,
to
baby.
play that location and level it up. Because it's not until then that you're really
You feeling all right?
so there's no point in carrying.
You feeling all right?
Alternatively, if you're getting crafting materials for a location that you're never going to play, feel free to sell them for a bit of extra money. Same thing with like these books. These are just going to allow you to use a spell on a character that otherwise wouldn't be able to use that spell. If you ever want to deal with using that, they do waive it. So, consider putting them to storage or selling. Now, the next thing you can do to manage your weight is you can come into your inventory and you can combine items. So, if we come down here and we see that we have a ripened apple. So, fresh food goes through stages in this game. It's like fresh, and then it's ripe, and then it is rotted. Once it's rotted, it loses the ability to do some things with it. So, if we look at the rotten shorefish right here, if we click on it, it says we can combine it, and by combining items, we are reducing the weight that we're carrying. So, if you ever find yourself overweight and you're out, and you have nowhere to sell and nowhere to store, you can start combining items because it is useful to combine items in this game. So, it says if we combine this item with this one here, on the right it says rotten shorefish plus rotten herb spot, you're going to get fuel for the lantern. Okay, that could be useful. And if we combine it with oily slime, same outcome. So, basically, if you let things go rotten, you can sometimes combine them and still get a useful ingredient out of them. Ideally, you're going to use things before they go rotten. So, if we combine these grapes with this green nourish, it tells us we're going to get a salute drop. And these are incredibly useful. These are basically health potions. You're going to use tons of these in the game, and they are really, really effective. Another thing you can do is you can take fruit and you can turn it into dried fruit, and then you can combine dried fruit with green orange or some kind of blend. And depending on what you combine, it will make something that requires a great deal of stamina or a great deal of health, and this can be really useful in battle too. So definitely come in here and combine things once you start getting heavy and you have too many items on you. Combine them, and it's going to greatly reduce the amount of weight that is on your character. Another thing that you can do to manage your weight is you can combine golden trove beetles. These are little gold beetles that you'll find all over the game. There's tons and tons of them, and each one that you find increases the amount that you and your pawns can carry by 0.15 kilograms. It's not a lot by itself, but as you find dozens and dozens of them, you definitely start to feel the difference. So once you find one, you're just going to click on it, click use, and now we can carry additional weight. One of the nice things about the trove beetles is that they glow. So when it's dark outside or when you're in a dark area, they stand out like a sore thumb. So keep your eyes peeled anytime you're running at night. If you see something glowing in the distance, go check it out. It's probably the golden trove beetle. And despite all your best efforts, sometimes you're just going to find lots of good stuff. It's going to throw your character overweight, and just don't be afraid to give the items to your main pawn. Any items that you give to the other two pawns will be sent to your in storage once you dismiss those pawns, or if they die, or you let them go in any way, shape, or form. It'll just be, you'll be able to find those items in your in storage. Okay, next let's talk about the lost games. This is a really important mechanic in this game. At the bottom of the screen there, we have a health bar. Right, that's the green section is the health we have. The white section is the health that we could heal, and the black section at the end, almost half of my bar right now, is health that has been lost from the lost gauge. Every time you take damage, some of the health that you lost will be lost permanently. And what I mean by that is until you go and rest at a camp or rest at an inn. So almost half of my bar is unusable right now, my health bar. So what I would need to do to get the rest of that back so that I can be healed to full health again is I would have to go rest at a campfire or an inn. The white portion there, I can be healed right now. I can just say, hey, I want a healer to come over, tell her to heal. So I'm just going to put a heal on the ground, and that white section gets healed up. But my health can't go beyond that thanks to the lost gauge. So this is the game's way of forcing you to go rest at an inn or a campfire from time to time. You're not going to be able to go out spelunking forever without checking back into town or at a campsite. And there's two ways to build your lost gauge, and one is to go to an inn. That's this symbol right here. Fireplace again. Right, say one is your storage chest. Or if you look for a battle map, you can look for that, and that's it. You come into here and you tell a person, hey, I want to rest. Now it is going to cost you some sum of gold, depending on where you are. It could be 1,000 gold, it could be 2,000 gold. It just really depends. You can also buy your own home, 20,000 gold, and then rest there for free, eventually saving money in the long run. So that's always an option. And then the third and one of the most useful is camping. You're going to find camping gear while you're playing the game, but it will break if you get attacked at night, and then you're going to find yourself without camping gear. If that happens, go to the curative spender. That's the potion on the map. Looks like that right there. I'll look for this symbol right here and talk to the vendor, and you can buy camping gear from him. So scroll down, and then he's got the camping kit, mundane, and grass pattern. So basically, the more expensive it is, the more durable it is, and the lighter it is. carrying around, so we'll grab one of those. Now we have camping gear, and when you camp, so you'll always be able to spot a campsite because you'll see the smoke coming into the air during the day, or you'll see the ashes flying into the air if it's nighttime. So it's pretty easy to spot up from a distance. They head over to it if you need one. Like right now, my character's max health is at 50% or 60% there. So we want to camp to get the rest of that back. So we'll camp, and we'll use the grass pattern kit that we just bought. And now we are at a campsite. So from here, a couple things we can do. We can cook. So we can open our menu and cook a rotted beef steak. If it wasn't rotted, it would give us much stronger buzz than this. Since it's rotted, it's not great. Go ahead and cook it, because hey, it's what we've got. And now, from this point on, we can choose to go to bed. And if you do this, there's a chance that you're going to be attacked in the night or the next morning. So rest till morning. Sometimes you get attacked. Most times you do not. If you get attacked, just kill the things that are attacking you. They might break your tent and you'll have to buy a new one if that happens. Alright, I was not attacked. And as you can see, my health bar is going all the way up to full again. So we've cleared the loss gauge. And like I mentioned, if you're in town, you can just go rest at an inn to clear your loss gauge. But resting at the inn is going to cost you 1,000 or 2,000 gold. So, there's pros and cons to both. The next thing to be aware of in this game is that the water is dangerous. It will kill you. So if you go into water that's deeper than like knee deep, the brine is in there. Let's see, we'll step into this. Oh, look at that. It starts getting me right away. And it will kill you. And it'll also kill your pawns. It'll also kill the things that you're fighting. So, feel free to throw enemies in deep water, but try to keep you in your senses. Next, let's talk about the type of quest. So you've got your normal quests, and then you've got your timed quests, basically. In this case, we've just picked up a quest. The way we can tell the difference here is by opening up our quest menu, and then if it's a timed quest, you'll see an hourglass, like this one here. The ones with a hand means that one of your pawns has knowledge of the quest. So this one, we've got a hand, and we've got an hourglass. So that's telling us that our pawn knows where to go, and also it's telling us that it's a timed quest. If we don't do it in time, then the person that we're trying to save might not be alive when we get there. When you're doing a quest, the yellow area will appear on the map, telling you generally where to go most of the time. Sometimes it won't, sometimes you'll need to rely on it to get you in the right area, but usually there'll be a yellow area that you can go to. And if you go to that area and you start running around, generally the NPC you need to talk to will come to you and let you know where you need to go and that you need to do something. You don't have to walk with every individual that you see and talk to all of them. They'll come to you when you quest them. Remember that if you're trying to do a quest and you can't figure it out, you don't know how to get to it, you can always go to the Riftstone and look for a pawn who has the ability to lead you to that quest and quest them. And when that's the case, you'll have this here. She's got a hand next to her, and that's her telling me, I know where to go. I have knowledge of this quest, and then I can just follow her. And what I do is I press go, and now she's going to lead me to that. If we get into combat or something, she'll stop heading in the direction of the quest. She'll forget about it. So just make sure you press go again, and then she'll continue going towards it. Alright, next let's dive into the menus bit, because full of useful information in here. So under items, as we touched on earlier, we've got our inventory. This is telling us everything we need to know about what we're holding on to. It tells us the weight of our characters. So if we're light, that's great. If we're average, that's okay. And if we're heavy, that's bad. You don't want to be heavy. You want to pass things off. So maybe I would want to give this camping kit to a character that was light, and that brings her up to average. And then I'm gonna go ahead and give this mask as well. And now we're both average. Things are looking better, right? This is gonna be a much better use of my stamina. Better yet would be for this character to head back to an inn and drop a lot of this material off, because I don't need to carry all of this around. Mostly when you're out and about, the only things that you need to be carrying around are your salubrious drones. These are healing potions. Bring, maybe 5 or 10 of these with you. You can store the extras in your storage, and maybe bring some beautiful warrants. Thread these things are going to be nice for recovering health and stamina in battle, and they weigh next to nothing. So this is a good way to store some extra health and stamina potions on you. The most useful thing in here is that you can sort things by weight, so that you can find the heavy items fast, or by new ways. Like maybe you pick something up here, set I wonder, sort it by new, you can find the thing you just picked up. And right here it says you can press this button to combine. Combining is what you'll do. You'll click on an item, and then it'll say how many you want to make, and it'll tell you on the right side what you're combining and what you're making. So in this case, it's making the potion. Apple makes 2 more potions. Grapes makes another potion. Bark would make a medicine that moves wet from your character's right. Wet is a debuff. There's a bunch of debuffs in this game, or status effects that enemies can put on you. Poison, wet, burning. Wet just makes it so you take more damage from lightning. Also, you can come into your inventory, and then you can click combine, and then you can click to use a recipe right here. And now you don't have to guess what something's going to make. You can look for the thing caves at the top with the white text for the ones that you can make. The ones down here with the gray text means that you're missing the ingredients to do so. White text, gray text, and it seems to be automatically putting the ones that I can't make at the top. Next, you have the map. While you're looking at the map, there's some good information to be seen here. You've got locations on the map you can hover over, and it'll tell you what that is. You can press F to go in deeper. You can hover over the specific buildings to see their name. So we hover over these flags, the Gracious Hand, and then if we hover this Walter's Tavern, right? So you can always hover over things to find out what exactly they're called and see if that's where you're trying to get to. Another thing that's really useful that a lot of people overlook is that you can go to a cave system. Like you'll find a cave, it'll be on the map. Now from here, you can press F and you can see if you've explored that cave or if you just ran near it. So in this case, the map is not lit up. We have never explored this cave before. But if we go to this cave, we can see that we did come into this cave and we did explore it. It looks like we got all of it. There's a small little one there. If we look at Treble Mine here, we can see that we did this whole floor. It looks like we did most of this one, but there is a split area here that we didn't hit. Maybe a little bit over here that we didn't. And then there's an area here that we didn't. So if you're ever curious whether or not you explored a cave that's on your map, you can just open it up and check very easily. From here, you can also open up your quest list, and if you hover over a quest, it tells you where to go for that quest on the map. So you can always see generally where you need to go for any quest that you have. Button to do that will be listed down here in the bottom right. You can also search for waypoint markers. You can search for vocation guilds if you're looking for one of those. You can search for apothecaries, right? This is where you're going to find curatives, tents, camping. You can search for armories. This is where you're going to go to upgrade your armor, and we'll talk about that next because it's important. You've got a scrap store. So that's Ibrahim's armories where you can change your appearance, stuff like that. So really useful to be able to use that search when you're looking for specific things inside the town that you're at. And then you can leave waypoints for yourself. So like if you see an area and you want to head back to it, just leave a waypoint like this here. Very handy. You're definitely going to do that from time to time. You'll find something that you can't get to, or you'll see a cave that you can't explore, or you'll see a person that you want to return to. You just leave a nice little marker for yourself. Now you can buy and upgrade or enhance your equipment in this game. So you'll look for this symbol on the map right here, this little sword. That's going to be a smithy. On your outside, it's a sign that looks a bit like this. So we got armor and weapons here. So we can come here and we can talk to the person inside, and we'll be given a menu that tells us we can buy new gear, which oftentimes, if you're in a new town, is going to have better than what you're wearing, or you can enhance existing gear. So it's almost always worth it to take that first enhancement because it's just going to cost a little bit of gold. So you can just upgrade it like that, and now it's going to be better. So it's going to enhance the stats as well as reduce the weight of that item. And depending on which region you're in, it's going to have a different impact on the stats of that item. So it does matter where you upgrade your gear. Some are going to be better suited to physical attacks, some are better suited to magic. So definitely take note of what region you're in. It tells you up here, we're in the Burgundian region. Style that's smithing, we're in Burgundian. There's a tried and true method that moderately enhances all regions. So some regions might be better suited to your strategy than others. So make sure to head to the right region for you before spending your gold and your materials to upgrade your gear. It'll tell you here what materials you need to upgrade the gear to the next level. Another thing to be aware of in combat in this game is that your character is not dead, not yet anyway. So after you take that final hit, your health will go down to 0, and the game will give you a second or so to use a potion. You can either use your quick potion, or you can open up your inventory and grab a potion there and use it. So you will almost never die in combat unless you're completely out of potions. The next thing we should talk about is what happens when an NPC dies, because there are really no immortal NPCs in this game in the way there are in other games. So if there's an important NPC in town and you drag a bunch of enemies into town, it might die. If that happens, their body is going to be sent to either a morgue or a charnel. So what you'll do is you'll just look here, and where it's sent is going to depend on where the body was found. So for instance, if it's closer to Batal, it's going to go to the Batal morgue here, whereas if it's closer to the other town, it'll go to its charnels. Inside, you go up to their clerks and you use the wake stone. Here we have one of them. These are pretty powerful items, and they're pretty rare. So you can find wake stones in the game. You can find wake stone shards. It takes 3 wake stone shards, and they automatically will combine into 1 wake stone. So whenever you find one of these, it's a pretty big deal. You're going to want to use them pretty sparingly. You can use them on yourself to revive yourself if you die in combat in a very inopportune moment. Maybe you pass away at the end of a really long battle and you lost something from the beginning. You can use a wake stone to get right back up. Or NPCs in town. So if an NPC that was important to you dies, you can come here and use the Waystone to revive them. However, you do have to do that within a few in-game days, so time is of the essence. You can't just like, I'll go next week. No, you gotta come straight here, revive them before they're basically buried or cremated or whatever they're doing to the bodies here. Another thing you'll notice from time to time, you'll see status effects above your health bar. If that's the case, what you can do is you can come into here and you can go to your statuses, view your status. So here you'll be able to see the status effect, and it'll tell you debilitations, any that you have, you'll be able to hover over them, and it will tell you exactly what that is and what it does to your character. Under history, you can come here and you can check your history with various NPCs that you've interacted with in the game. You'll be able to add them to your favorites, remove from your favorites. You'll be able to come into your adventure book, you can see your player stats, your pawn stats, NPC stats, items and equipment, as well as enemies failed and all kinds of stuff like that. Photo mode is going to do just that. It's going to take you into a photo mode that lets you take full screenshots of your characters. Now, if you're playing the game or you're just getting started and you're not sure what vocation to start, be sure to check out the vocations guide popping up on screen right now, or linked in the description below. Or if you already know what vocation you want to play, but you're worried about doing things inefficiently or ineffectively in this game, check out my mistakes to avoid the Dragonstock 2 video, linked in the description. Thank you so much for watching. If you're one of the people that made it all the way to the end of the video, let me know down in the comments below. It's always cool to see. And I hope to see you guys in the next video. Massive shout out to my YouTube members. Thanks for supporting the channel in a big way that YouTube. If you want to become a YouTube channel member, click the join button below or the link in the description to find out more about the purring slime behind the scenes footage, having your name appear at the end of every video, and a private Discord channel where you can ask me questions about whatever game we're playing. I hope you have a fantastic day, night, or evening, wherever you are, and I'll see you in the next video. If you're not sure what to do next, check out one of these videos popping up on screen right now. This is the ultimate vocation guide, containing how to unlock every vocation. They're based to skill the best skills, augment equipment, and tips for every single vocation together in one video for your viewing pleasure. Let's go. Fighter is one of the basic vocations, so you don't have to unlock it. The fighter's role is to essentially like that tank role in melee range. You'll be keeping enemies' attention, having them attack you, and then using your unique vocation ability to block the damage that they're actually sending towards you, and keeping your shield up as you're the only class that can use the shield. Now, you'll be also dishing out damage when you have those opportune moments where protecting your allies is a key focus here. You play definitely a more defensive role than some of the other vocations, so it's something to think about if you are going to play as a fighter. Now, you will use like that R1 block all the time, right? It's a very important mechanic for a fighter. Blocking does consume stamina, and the higher damage attacks will consume more stamina when you block them, but it does prevent that damage from actually going to your health. You want to make sure as well that you're pointing your shield in the right direction. You know, you can actually change your shield direction by pressing like B or circle or whatever, and then you can actually change your character's direction so that you are facing the right way, because you can't really block if your shield facing the wrong way. But just be careful as well of that shield and stamina management, because when you do have your shield up, your stamina won't refresh, it won't go down unless you take like a hit from the shield. But you do want to make sure you're refreshing, because if you run out of stamina, you're essentially sitting down and absolutely take damage. But we can talk about how to keep yourself in. But let's get into the skills right now. Now, skill usage as a fighter is as often or as needed necessarily as some of the other vocations that are very skill dependent, right? Because
Hey.
Yeah.
Me and Sis gonna leave on like 10
So you're actually using a lot of
Alright, you know when I work.
stamina, but there is
Yeah.
some skills
I've been here, baby.
the first
Yeah.
you get like burst
But
rate,
anything?
burst rate,
Shit. What you eat or something?
Huh?
You eat or something?
I have some snacks. Shit. So
What's that?
actually those donuts, cookies.
I'm dead.
I'm about to eat a cake. You want to drink something?
Yeah.
What? You got your barbecue chips up here. You want them?
No.
What you want?
Twinkie the Sunday.
Fudge on Twinkies?
Yeah.
I'll just get fudge.
necessarily too much in you because generally speaking, the AI does have a tendency to attack you a lot of the time, so you can get away without running shield jump if you want to run something else. But essentially, what this does is it causes targets to
it's definitely valuable to have them focus on you. Definitely valuable to fighter watching this video for that reason, but it's less important for you. You can probably throw something else if you do want to go that route. M slash or cloud slash is super good for the fighter. It's basically your only way to attack things in the air. Great for attacking, enemies and stuff that are flying around, but it's also really good for hitting larger enemies like in the face, because if you've got a sword face from hitting their toes, so it allows you to sort of jump up and get those high attacks and get those weak points, which can be really valuable as well. It gives you that sort of flexibility. You should be grabbing all of the core skills here that really just advance your kit, like giving you access to different abilities. Not necessarily you need to make options here. True deflect isn't bad. I think it's like the only parry in the game if you want to parry and then follow up the counter attacks with that consuming stamina. But really, you should be grabbing augments anyway. Augments is really important here. Now for augments, right, like you'll obviously grab all the fighter ones, like mental to increase your physical defense, provocations, and it's going to attack you, and blue to increase your carry weight, which is also great. You can actually grab other augments from some of the other vocations. You just have to level them up. For example, like Mage's Exaltation to increase your stamina recovery speed, or the Archer's Endurance to increase your max stamina, and it's really good for the fighter.
Safe.
Kids, the fighter vocation basically.
Will be too. Be safe.
It really across very early to return to Melbourne at a late stage to actually unlock his baseless teaching, which is the Righteous Fury fighter skill, which is actually a pretty good damage skill. You can use a bit of a finisher and some of the minor enemies as well. Now, to unlock this, you will need to complete some of the main stories through Captain Grant in Venmouth. For me, this happened after I finished the Monsters Killin quest for him. I don't know if that's like a specific requirement. Let me know in the comments if it's a little different for you. But essentially, what I did here is I completed that and then went to the Bell of Oxcar area in Venmouth, and an NPC there grabbed my attention and gave me a quest called Oxcar Courier to return to Melbourne and give a letter to Leonard, and I went and did that. And then there was actually an attack at Melbourne at that specific time as well, which I don't think was necessarily related to the quest, but it did occur. So it could have been that, it could have been this quest, I'm just going to pull it out. I won't show too much just for like spoilers and stuff, but essentially after you've done that, you'll be able to get the Righteous Fury still good from him called Soldier's Code. You just need to then use it in your inventory, and then you've unlocked it for both you and your main clone as well. And yeah, I don't know there's very specific requirements for this event to occur, but that's how it occurred for me. It may be a little different for you. Definitely put that down in the comments if like something happened a little different for you. So the like specific event triggers we haven't really worked out yet. We're not further enough in the game to know yet. But gear wise, you always want to be on the hunt for better gear, either by buying from vendors, finding it in the world. Make sure you are upgrading it, especially your armor to increase your defense, but also lower its weight slightly, as fighting gear is very heavy. An important detail for fighters as well is that you can use both maces and swords.
The people here are evacuated and safe for the moment. The people here are evacuated and safe. The people here are evacuated and safe.
The people here are evacuated and safe.
The people here are evacuated. There are more who can yet be saved. There are more who can yet be saved.
Armor is very important for fire and having a high defense, so make sure you are investing in your armor, upgrading it, and you're actually purchasing any of the better armor equipment that you can get. And the same goes for your rings, right? Like the rings that improve your overall defenses, that increase your HP or reduce the amount of damage you take. Those things are definitely valuable to have as a fighter. A couple of tips here for playing as a fighter. Now, larger characters is actually a good idea for the fighter because you can carry more weight the larger you are, and because you're going to be wearing heavier armor, it just helps a little bit better. Like if you're a small fighter wearing super heavy armor, you're going to pick up stuff all the time that you're just going to get overcommitted so quickly. It does help with that because of your larger resistance being knocked down as well. Having a support mage with your fighter, say if you are playing as the fighter, you've got a support mage as a main pawn or a summon pawn, it's really valuable to have to heal you, to remove any status effects you get hit with, as you do want everything to be attacking, because you will be taking damage, you will get knocked down, you'll have to get back up again, and having a But the overall focus here for the fighter really is to use shield drum, have things attack you, and then fight them back. Right now, if you are fighting things that like
Pawns
skeletons
are oft
and
called
things that are
nomads.
resistant
We
to
wander
slash,
between
you've got
this
your
world
shield
and the
there,
many
you
other
can
realms with
damage
which we are
that way,
connected.
and then you've got other, your allies that are really going to be doing the brunt of the damage here. Like you can easily get away with having 3 ranged allies and just have use the only melee character and just try and have everything focused by you.
I am no exception, and my experiences in these other worlds will doubtless be of aid to you on your adventure. Tis my privilege to accompany you as your loyal pawn, and I will gladly use the knowledge I gain to guide you.
If you're going that route, you're probably better
Where I'll be. A pawn summoning before my very eyes. You truly are the Arisen then. Strange. I thought the Arisen... Surely there's only meant to be one Arisen. Fine. This is all beyond my ken. The Watchhead would know what to do, I'm sure. Though, as luck would have it, he's away. Suppose we'll save any further questions till the Watchhead returns. You're free to do as you like before then.
The archer can do a pretty insane amount of damage with just their basic normal.
You've no memories. Mayhap you could make the Arisen is said to bear some deep connection.
It does auto-target enemies, which is really the only reason why you want to use it. But for the most part, you're using steady shots, so you can actually aim your targets through that over the shoulder effect, and it does increase the damage that all of your skills do. Like with the steady shot, and use all of your skills with steady shot, and sometimes you'll actually notice as well. That skill might be pretty average just in like the normal skills, but it's actually pretty good in steady shot. And why the archer really works is because of steady shot, right? You're going to hear that a lot in this video, because you can basically always hit the weak points on the enemies. Now, you will actually hear a specific sound when you are hitting a weak point. It's a little different, like
Hail,
it sound when
Arisen.
you're hitting weak points compared to when you're
Pray, ask aught you wish to know. I shall answer. If 'tis within my nomads, we are oft called. However, I cannot speak as to our true nature. Riftstones are gained. By their power have we crossed into this world. 'Tis the name given even with your memories lost to you. I am very well.
Specifically aim their shots in certain ways. You can just move your reticule on the weak point and shoot away. Now, the thing as well to point out here is the steady shot that consumes stamina, which is with arrows. Obviously, skills does, but stamina isn't as important in the archer vocation as some of the others, right? Like, you can really get away with not necessarily worrying too much about your stamina, as for the most part, the basic trash enemies don't really need to use your skills much just because of the overall damage it does, especially when you use certain rings and setups, but the skills are obviously...
I am attentive and loyal, and prefer to remain by your side. In battle, I shall follow your lead and prioritize support.
Just stun them down, that sort of thing. Really great, like, damage ability, really good against large enemies too, if you can hit those weak spots to sort of stagger them a bit as well. I'm a really big fan of specific arrow shots as well, like exploding, carring, and drenching shots. Specifically here, exploding is definitely the best option.
I've nothing to report as yet. Was there something you needed, Master?
Hit the weak spot, but it does stagger enemies. You can very easily knock enemies over by exploding arrows into their weak spots.
Where ought we to go now?
Shot does fire arrows in a rapid succession, allowing you to sort of burst damage enemies. You can use as well moving as well, and I didn't use this heaps. I didn't really like this, but I ended up actually switching to torrent shot, which when you kneel down, you will be able to spam arrows in very rapid succession until you...
Boy there, my pa always used to say, there's naught a good night's sleep can't fix. Not much else I can offer, I'm afraid, but you'll find all sorts at a finer inn. Aye, being armed is better. You should stop by the inn in Melv if you get a chance. No,
We must rest, though the sun is still up. Your diligence has borne fruit at last. There's no discipline that steadfast devotion cannot.
Definitely, as soon as that pops up, grab swift bells and grab them all. For your augments, again, like they're all pretty solid, and you scan to increase damage dealt by your attacks when targets are not in combat is really good, especially if you want to line this up with, say, a deadly arrow, like start combat that way, you'll deal extra damage. Endurance to increase your max stamina is obviously great, and lethality to increase damage when striking at target's vitals, so their weak spots, obviously you know where that's good. Mage's Exaltation is one you can grab to increase your stamina recovery speed. The Thief's decrease to the likelihood of being targeted by foes isn't bad either, so you can definitely grab that, so then targets don't focus you, definitely good there. And the Magic Archer also has some great augments for your Archer as well. The Vocation Maester is Talisman Elf in the Sacred Arbor. Now, in order to unlock the Vocation Maester skill called Heavenly Shot, you will need to do quests a little bit longer than other vocations, especially the basic ones. Essentially here you'll need to run into Gwendia in Venworth, and after talking to him you'll start his first quest, gift on the bow, which you should do anyway because you do get a really good ring out of it, but out of that essentially you'll then need to go and do the trial of the archery, which is his next quest, and then once you complete
believe that that helps
A fine place to harvest some ingredients.
For me, I didn't actually get it straight away. I needed to level up my argentification more. I think you need like rank 6-ish seemingly. Once I hit that, he actually sought me out when I was using Father. Like, he just came up to me and was like, hey, I have this skill. So yeah, you might want to just pay attention to that. But yeah, go and do those quests in armor.
Let me get that.
Be able to get this. Also, if you like what we do here, consider hitting that like button or subscribing or the membership program. For just $1, you can get early access to videos like this and all of my other guides, build videos, and those cheeky long-form essays we do. Plus, there are other benefits like members deals, Discord, merch, and more. So if you like what we do here, please consider hitting that join button or subscribing, as it helps me more than you know. But enough of that.
Freshly rested as you are, this battle ought to be allowed.
So I really just stick with that and really use it for the training so we can. Equipment for the archer now, we can actually get a really good bow.
One might confidently call that a resounding victory. Is there all this pawn might do for you?
Then go back to then learn and upgrade this bad boy, which you really should be doing right. Armor's super important.
How might I serve you, Arisen?
Damage. The main thing here is just upgrading your bow, making sure you've got a ton of force potential with it and damage potential with it. Then you upgrade success with that. For your ring of proximity is really like all you need here. Now this just strengthens the bow attacks when you are closer to your enemies, the closer you are. And
Yes, master.
Steady shot literally all the time. It just increases your damage by so much. You can target all the weak points. So really the main crux of this build, and just in general, is just using steady shot. Now, I mentioned the exploding shot earlier, and how good that is. You obviously need to craft. However, it's important to actually use this build just
Arisen, are you alright?
Stick with it. You need that to be able to craft them. If you just go to a campsite, you can then actually just like change that arrow skill you have active to one of the ones that you've still actually got arrows of in your inventory. So it saves you that sort of having to go back to, come to the city and then switch out your skills in that way. You should also have a page with you here at pretty much all times to use your arrows for status effects, because there isn't really a way you can do it as an archer. So having a mage that can add lightning to the arrows dexterity-based class player in other RPGs, it's probably the one that you're going to lean most towards because of their nimble kit and quick attacks. They also have a high stamina and they can't really take much of a punch, which isn't really their main focus. Like, they will be on the front line, but essentially from behind enemies, or not necessarily taking the main brunt of the damage, and using the dodge button that they do have, as I believe they are the only class that has a dodge being swift step here, which is perfect for the Souls-like fans out there. But essentially you can use that mechanic to avoid damage. That's
battle is best avoided here.
Very fast attack combos.
Well done.
Mention ways like obviously you're grabbing all the enemies and back. That will help you avoid some of that damage, but it's just important that you
our
need
foe
so
well
far
and
to
true.
make sure you are allowing that stamina time to regen, because there are some really amazing skills that it does have. Speaking of those skills, you start with snare, and it's something like a grappling hook skill that you will definitely be using on ground.
We've got goblins!
Being down with the sled.
I'll carefully conserve my strength and endeavor to survive every battle by way of sound strategy and defensive tactics.
There's also the only vacation that can bring flying enemies to the ground in this way as well.
Restoration and reinforcement are the purview of a mage. You'll be
allowed to actually hit those enemies and bring them down with a bit of force as well. In Kindle Blades, another great skill to get as it lets you imbue your daggers with flame damage, so you can get that extra bit of status damage off as well, which will help build that burning damage onto enemies, and especially the enemies that are weak to burning. This flame
I knew that I could count upon your strength, Arisen.
This and a couple of other solutions here, you will only really be doing that slash damage. Just gives you a bit more variation. Concussive Step is one that, I've got to be honest, it's not really all that great, but before that, it's a skill that's really helpful for use it to get nation right. So you still essentially jump also certain checks that still makes it easier to get to, especially in the city. And the one thing I would say
Come to aid our foes!
Like you also got some other options. It's also it's absolutely incredible, especially with the path in various ways. So it's a really good skill that I would definitely ultimately it's really up to your playstyle, what you like for that other extra slot. Really those first three are the main ones that I would grab. For your core skills here, you just grab all of them, right? Like they're a must anyway. They essentially just make your overall kit more important. But the main one you want to grab here is Control Fall. Now what this does is it gives you a chance to avoid taking large amounts of damage when you fall. This is really important as we down the opener that you can sort of climb every big beast, and you can then stab them, and then if you're falling off them, you can avoid some of that.
Yes, Master.
Well, augments are just as important, and you won't have into these early on, but there is a bunch of good ones. Gratification gives you a slight amount of health back when you deliver the killing blow on an enemy, and Poise reduces the amount of stamina that you use while you're struggling on an enemy's grip, like holding onto them. Now, you can use augments from other vocations, which you should be doing, because you can level them up and then equip them. One of the ones here is like Mage's Exaltation to increase your stamina recovery speed. Fighters